Have you ever looked around and realized you have fewer friends than most people? Maybe your phone stays quiet more often. Maybe group conversations drain you faster than they should. Maybe you've watched other people move easily through big social circles while you've always felt a little out of place in them. Maybe you've even wondered, is something wrong with me? But psychology suggests something surprising. In many cases, people with the smallest circles aren't socially incapable at all. Their minds simply work a little differently. They notice things others overlook. They value different kinds of connection. And sometimes they would genuinely rather be alone than surrounded by people who don't truly see them. So if your circle has always been small, this might explain why. Because people who prefer smaller social circles often share a few psychological patterns. Not weaknesses, just ways of experiencing connection that are a little different from the norm. Let's explore a few of them. 1. You have a low tolerance for fake behavior. Some people can easily ignore small lies or social masks, but others notice them immediately. You might be sitting in a group conversation where everyone is laughing and agreeing, yet something about it feels strangely hollow. The smiles seem rehearsed. The interest feels forced. Your brain quietly picks up on inconsistencies, tone shifts, hidden tension, words that don't quite match intentions. After a while, pretending along with it becomes exhausting. So instead of surrounding yourself with people who perform versions of themselves, you step back. Not because you dislike people, but because authenticity matters more to you than company. Sometimes being alone simply feels more peaceful than being surrounded by inauthentic performers. 2. You prefer depth over constant interaction. For many people, social life is built on frequency. Group chats, weekend plans, constant messages. But for others, connection works differently. You may find yourself craving conversations that actually go somewhere, discussions about ideas, life experiences, fears, regrets, or what truly drives people. Small talk rarely satisfies that need. It's not arrogance, it's simply preference. You don't just want to talk to pass the time. You want to leave a conversation feeling like something real was shared. And because meaningful conversations are rarer, your circle naturally stays smaller. You're not avoiding people. You're waiting for the kind of connection that feels real. 3. Your mind processes social situations more deeply. Some people move through social environments effortlessly. Others observe everything. The slight change in someone's voice, the expression that flickers across a face for a second, the tension hidden beneath polite words. When your mind constantly reads social signals like this, interactions require more energy. It's not that you dislike people. Your brain simply processes them on multiple levels at once, and after a while, your mind needs space to recover. Not because you failed socially, but because your brain was working harder than anyone else noticed. 4. You're comfortable with silence. There's a quiet kind of friendship that doesn't require constant conversation. Two people sitting in the same space, each focused on their own task, yet completely comfortable. One person once described spending hours in a garage with a close friend working on motorcycles. For long stretches, they barely spoke, maybe just hold that wrench or pass that tool. From the outside, it looked like silence, but to them, it felt like trust. Because real closeness doesn't always need constant talking. Sometimes the deepest comfort is simply being able to share space without pressure to perform. Sometimes silence means you feel safe. 5. You don't chase attention or approval. Some friendships are built on constant validation, people wondering who texted back, who noticed them, who invited them. But when you develop a strong sense of independence, that need becomes quieter. You don't beg people to stay. You don't force yourself into every invitation. If someone wants to be part of your life, you welcome it. If they drift away, you let them. That can seem distant to some people, but often it simply means your sense of peace doesn't depend on how many people surround you. You prefer genuine connection over forced inclusion. 6. Past experiences made you more careful. Trust is something we learn through experience, and sometimes those experiences leave marks. A betrayal, a painful misunderstanding, a moment when someone you trusted revealed a side of themselves you hadn't seen before. After moments like that, the brain becomes protective. You observe more. You listen more carefully. You take longer before letting someone fully into your life. Psychologists sometimes call this a higher trust threshold. It doesn't mean you've closed yourself off forever. It simply means your mind learned to be careful with who receives your trust. 7. You often find connection in unexpected places. Some of the most genuine conversations don't happen in large friend groups. They happen in quiet, unexpected moments. A conversation with a stranger on a hiking trail. A discussion during a fishing trip. A random exchange that suddenly becomes meaningful. Without social pressure, people often speak more honestly. For someone who values depth, these moments can feel more authentic than hours of routine interaction. Sometimes it's easier to have one honest conversation with someone you just met than 10 shallow ones with people you've known for years. And that can be confusing at first, until you realize you were never looking for more noise. You were looking for something real. 8. Your inner world is rich enough to keep you company. Many people feel uncomfortable when they are alone with their thoughts. Silence makes them restless. But some people experience solitude very differently. They think deeply, reflect on experiences, explore ideas, learn and create. Instead of feeling empty, their inner world feels active and meaningful. Psychologists often link this with introspection and emotional self-awareness. When your own mind is a place you enjoy spending time, constant company becomes less necessary. Solitude doesn't automatically feel like a loss. Sometimes it simply feels like space. None of this means friendships don't matter. Human beings are wired for connection. But connection isn't measured by numbers. Some people thrive with large social circles. Others flourish with just one or two deeply trusted relationships and long stretches of solitude in between. Both ways of living are completely human. What matters most is whether the connections in your life feel genuine and aligned with who you are. Because sometimes a small circle doesn't mean your world is empty. Sometimes it simply means you've chosen clarity over noise, depth over appearances, and authenticity over convenience. And in a world that constantly equates popularity with happiness, that kind of choice takes quiet strength. So if your circle happens to be small, remember this: you're not missing something. You may simply be making space for the connections that truly matter. Milk and honey for your soul.